Caucus. And Garrett Gutley will be here tomorrow night. I'm Connie Chung in Des Moines, Iowa. I'll see you again caucus night, Monday. Thank you for joining us, and for all of us at NBC News, good night.
Tonight on a very special Facts of Life, Natalie and her boyfriend face a tough decision and take a very big step. This show deals with important sexual themes. Parental discretion is advised. And tonight on 227, guest star Kim Fields goes from frumpy to a foxy lady.
Tonight.
11 Dream Castle finalists, 11 keys, 1 winner. Witness it live.
So what's little dandruff?
Okay, imagine you're at the social event of the year, and your dream girl says hello, just as you do this. Her first impression? What a hunk. And only a few flakes.
Give me a break.
The breaks are, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
So?
So regular shampoos won't fix your problem. Try this.
Head and Shoulders? But you don't have dandruff.
Bingo.
Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Walgreens won't let your pictures come out too blue, or too green, or too red. Walgreens uses the Kodak Color Watch system exclusively so that your pictures come out color perfect. And now with Walgreens Match 2 game, you can win $10,000 in gold and other prizes. Free game card inside every Walgreens photo envelope.
Walgreens is making wonderful things happen this Valentine's Day with a variety of cards and gifts to help you remember the people you love. Isn't it nice there's a Walgreens nearby? KARE.
For over 100 years, people have been taking part in the St. Paul Winter Carnival. This year is no exception as people browse alongside a gigantic snow volcano, pale in comparison to the massive ice palace of 1888, but not quite as tall as the record-breaking structure of 1986. This year, the stage is set on Harriet Island, the playground for winter fun, the city of St. Paul. Come along and join us in this winter wonderland for the St. Paul Winter Carnival as the legend lives on.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Ryder.
And I'm George Latimer, Mayor of St. Paul. Over the next half hour, we're going to take a little journey and find out just why the Winter Carnival is so special.
You know, George, this is kind of a fancy roof of a parking lot right now, but there's a lot of history in this same spot.
Yeah, it really is something. Right under this parking lot is the old Central Park, which was where the 1886 Winter Carnival took place. It was here in 1886 that the first ice palace was constructed for the very first St. Paul Winter Carnival. It was a big palace, too, designed by a Canadian architect, A.C. Hutchinson.
George, as I understand it, the St. Paul Winter Carnival was actually born out of the old Montreal Winter Carnival. In fact, the first ice palace to be built in North America was put up for the Montreal Festival, and that was back in 1883. And what's more interesting is that festival still lives on today. They call it La Fête de Nang. That means the Snow Festival. And as in St. Paul, there are plenty of winter activities that take place in Montreal this time of year.
You know, Tom, one of the unique things about the St. Paul Winter Carnival, it is loaded with legends.
Well, I understand that it all started with the legend of King Boreas.
Legend has it that every year King Boreas comes down from Canada to spend his winters in St. Paul for a week. He and others come out to enjoy the cold. In fact, they've been doing it for a long time now.
As a matter of fact, I guess we can call it wintertainment for the past 100 years here in St. Paul. And right now, News 11's Ken Speak will take us for a look at some winter carnivals past.
The St. Paul Winter Carnival got off to a grand start in the late 1800s. The focal point of the festival was always a gigantic ice palace, the first three of which were some of the largest ever built. A warm and dry spell at the turn of the century forced an end to the winter fun. In 1916, the Winter Carnival was revived. now became a premier social event in St. Paul. Curling clubs were among the many social groups to compete against each other at the festival. But in 1917, a lonely ice fort built in Rice Park would mark another end to the Winter Carnival, this time for many years.
The 20s were a downtime, and up through the Depression, actually, the Winter Carnival had a hard time getting itself put together. There were small carnivals that neighborhoods put on, but a citywide effort really didn't get accomplished until the late 30s.
1937 again marked the rebirth of the Winter Carnival with the construction of an ice palace in front of the state capitol. As with carnivals past, the winter celebration was always brought to an end with a dazzling fireworks show. As the Winter Carnival moved into the 50s, celebrities like Dinah Shore brought their television shows to St. Paul. In 1958, the Grand Parade moved the Winter Carnival into the space age with floats depicting the signs of the times. With the 80s came the construction of yet another ice palace, one that would go down in the record books as the tallest ever.
They have gone from being a castle type of structure, a fortification, to a building that is actually much more the housing of the city of St. Paul, the people. It's a people palace.
The last Winter Carnival featured not an ice palace, but the elaborate kabuki ice sculptures. The Winter Carnival, an ever-changing festival in the city of St. Paul. Ken Speak, News 11.
This old town has seen an awful lot over the last 100 years, Tom.
That's right, George. You and I both know a lot of changes have taken place in downtown St. Paul, but I'll tell you, this has really been a hot spot for a lot of Winter Carnival activities.
It has. Downtown is where they've held so many Grand Day and torchlight parades in Winter Carnivals past, like the one in 1916. Some parades, like the one in 1937, have had some pretty elaborate entries, like giant stuffed animals, which look an awful lot like the Macy's parade in New York City.
George, do you like floats in these parades?
Love them.
You know, one thing I find to be really interesting, the different kinds of floats they have in the Winter Carnival parade.
There are all kinds, and there's one old-timer who's been making them for a lot of years in the Winter Carnival.
Actually, the first float I built for the Winter Carnival was in 1939. My competition decided that they liked the Orange Bowl in Florida better than they liked St. Paul, so they quit the Winter Carnival, and the Winter Carnival started me into the float business. It's about what it amounted to. Well, almost all the stuff is started strictly from an idea. You get an idea, and then go ahead and try to make it. You make dragons, you make statues, you make bears, you make just anything. We've done everything, even submarines. So this is just a few of the pictures that we have. We usually work from a theme from either Winter Carnival. There's one that was a real doozy. We had a little fire, and we blamed it on Vulcan, but it wasn't really his fault. You can see, so the carnival watchers get more than bargained for as a fire dragon disintegrates, and that's exactly what happened to him. He was breathing fire, but he breathed a little too much fire, and away he went. All kinds of floats. We had one float not too many years ago, one parade, where we had 9 inches of snow on the parade. You couldn't tell one float from another. They all looked white, and that was it. You know, this is one of my favorites here. It was a grand piano, and it was a two-sided deal, and it played polonaise, and the keys went up and down. It was all lighted and everything. It's beautiful, beautiful float. We're very, very proud of our lighted floats. We feel like we more or less started the things with the lighted parades in St. Paul and Minneapolis. But we have so many more things to offer them now than we did in those days. In those days, it was more of a situation to put on your carnival suit and go out sledding, sliding, skating, everything else, and bar hopping for a week.
No doubt about it. Everybody loves the parade, especially if it's right here in St. Paul.
Hey, we have a lot more coming your way, including a look at the Winter Carnival royalty.
Still ahead, we'll tell you about a snow queen of Winter Carnival past and take a look at what she's up to these days. It's coming up as Winter Carnival legend lives on.
Same old thing with the same old bunch. The same bunch. So what's it gonna be for lunch?
Make it a burrito any way you want it at At Taco Bell, there are 4 ways to get your fill. From our bean burrito to the double beef burrito supreme. You can have a lunch that leaves you empty or burritos that fill you up. So what's it gonna be?
You've noticed it before. Something missing in your margarine. Taste, flavor, richness. Now Land O'Lakes has found what you've been missing. The taste of sweet cream. In Land O'Lakes bread with sweet cream. Just enough sweet cream to make it sweet, creamy, buttery, yet it has almost no cholesterol. Land O'Lakes bread with sweet cream. The taste you've been missing.
When you're talking low, you're talking Lou. 'Cause nobody sells video lower than Lou.
We're the Stereo Brothers, and no one can stretch your dollar farther.
No matter what they claim,
If I can't beat your best deal, no one can.
just remember the asterisk, because nobody but nobody sells for less than Highland.
We've been here too long.
Kathy Durham looks cool under pressure. But just because her blouse is dry doesn't mean she smells good. Because Underarm odor is invisible, she needs Sure Roll-On. Sure helps protect against wetness and kills bacteria that cause odor. So, Kathy, why go to school with a dry blouse and a false sense of security? Tomorrow, use Sure Roll-On and be just as sure about odor as you are about wetness.
Thanks.
Hello, we're back again. Tom Ryther along with George Latimer, the mayor of St. Paul. And George, we've been here a few years. Do you remember anything about your first Winter Carnival?
I sure can. At the time, we had 3 kids under the age of 6, and they had the Ice Palace on Kellogg Boulevard about 25 years ago, and those kids wouldn't leave that palace, and we were freezing.
Well, I'll never forget my first carnival with the legendary mayor, Charlie McCarty. That was back in 1971.
The super mayor. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of other folks around here right now who can look back a long, long time ago to their Winter Carnivals.
In fact, we have found a lady who's been involved with the Winter Carnival dating back many, many years in one way or another.
Mementos. So many of them. And each one, like these on the mantle, stirs the memories of John and Bernice Roach. In quiet moments like this, there's time to reflect on 40 years of volunteer work with the Winter Carnival.
And this was a Vulcan button that was given out in 1980.
These days, Bernice and John set up the schedule for the royal family, and always they precede them to all those colorful shindigs. Some of the most memorable since 1947 were the dances. John remembers those dances.
In my younger years, when I used to, go dancing quite a bit, and I still do, I make sure I take her, but she might not see me for the rest of the evening until time to go home.
In other words, she wasn't on your dance card.
Well, yeah, she was on my first and my last.
Bernice remembers, too. She still recalls the Royal Guard who got in a jam.
He came up to me and he says, Ma, he said, come here quick, he said. I said, what's the matter, Jim? I said, don't be so secretive, just speak up. I just thought he was kidding with me. He said, look at what I've done. He said, I broke my zipper on my short. He was so disappointed, and what'll I do? And I said, I have a solution. The only thing is you can't go to the bathroom the rest of the day. So I just took him and pinned his shorts all up, sewed up the outside of the flap, and that was it.
Memories, so many memories. Surely, after 40 years, it must become a little dull. No, not in this household.
Do you guys have fun?
I always have fun. I have fun from the time I get out of bed in the morning until I go to bed at night.
Well, it's time to break out the hot chocolate, so it'll be fitting this winter weather.
Ooh.
You know, George, the Capitol right behind us here, I look at that, and that's been the scene of a lot of Winter Carnival activity.
For many years, it was a real mecca, as you know, Tom. In fact, in 1937, a giant toboggan run was set up on the ground of the state capitol. And when I say it was long, I mean it was long. It stretched well over 1,500 feet.
1,500 feet. I bet there were a lot of sore fannies after that ride, George. Let me tell you, 1,500 feet. You know, another one of the big items of the Winter Carnival in years past, and continuing to today, the blanket toss. If you look carefully at this film dating back to 1938, you can see someone being thrown up in the air in front of the old ice palace that was built right here on these grounds back in that time. The tradition continues. The St. Paul Athletic Club now chooses a bouncing girl to take part in those same kinds of events every year.
You know, one of the highlights of every winter carnival is when the royalty is chosen.
Ah, yes. Where would we be without pageantry? And, of course, we're all excited about the crowning of a new Queen of the Snows and the crowning of a new King Boreas.
A very special coronation was held many years ago. In 1937, Rudy Valley was on hand to crown the new Queen of the Snows. What an event it must have been. And this year's coronation was also very special.
From the Royal House of Apache Plaza, 1988, Queen of the Snows, Lori Hammond.
Tom, have you ever wondered what it would be like for you to be Winter Carnival royalty?
Yeah, I dream every once in a while, what would that be like with the crown, but I know it'll never be. We did catch up with a lady, though, who was a queen many years ago, and our Gil Amundsen of News 11 shows us how she's changed.
And so I play a role in that fairy tale, and I was the princess, I was the queen. Somebody has to do that. And that's okay, as long as we don't think of beauty only in terms of a 20-year-old girl. And I guess that's where my work has carried me since, that there is beauty elsewhere.
Karen Sontag Basic sees beauty most everywhere, and she keeps finding it in new places. She was Queen of the Snows in 1959. Today, her curiosity and need for beauty has made her many people. She's an artist who has often preferred to draw rocks and roots.
I never understood why it was such a strange kind of subject matter, and people would look at me and say, well, why rocks and roots? There are so many more beautiful things to draw. And yet I was just compelled to draw these.
She's a photographer who gets involved in her assignments. For example, she was taking pictures at a seminar on older women where she got some remarkable pictures and launched her personal mission to help change the image of older women. And she is a sculptor with a passion for stone carving.
And I picked up the tools and started working. It was like I had done it all my life. It was the most exciting thing I've ever done.
Karen says she's glad the Winter Carnival was part of her life, but she understands exactly how big a part.
To put it into perspective and not let that have too much effect on me. So I remember putting my queen's picture over my wash tubs in my laundry room to help, you know, keep it in its place.
That was 1959. 1988 finds Karen Sontag Basic's days full of beauty, wonder, and a love of living.
It's a good time of my life.
It's really fun to look back at the Winter Carnival and see how it was special for so many people.
Well, it is for me, and I'm kind of a history nut to boot. Coming up, the Winter Carnival as we go into the present time of 1988.
Still ahead, we'll see how Harriet Island has been transformed into the winter playground for this year's Winter Carnival. Don't go away. Winter Carnival legend lives on.
Celebrate the savings during Snyder's annual Price Chopper sale. See how much more you save at the Old Corner Drugstore. Save to $2.78 on Ruffy's trash bags. Regular $2.89 each, now get 2 for $3 with coupon. Save up to 70 cents on Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion or Q-Tips Cotton Swabs. Just $1.69 each with coupon. Save 25% on all Sally Hansen nail care products. There's a large assortment to choose from. The Price Chopper sale, only at Snyder's, the Old Corner Drugstore, for today.
Imagine a place you could go to find help with your investment opportunities, retirement planning, insurance, credit lines, and mortgages. A place with more services than you'd expect from a bank and more help than you'd expect from a banker. It may be the last place you'd look, but it's the place you should come in first.
If you're an owner of an import car, Chevrolet has some valuable news for you.
if you add up all the features and qualities of the new Chevy Nova. Then subtract $1,200 cash back that Nova now offers. You come up with the only answer for your next car, Chevy Nova.
The heartbeat of America, that's today's Chevrolet.
I feel better when I do the right thing. Like when I exercise instead of putting it off. Or when I work hard instead of getting nothing done. And I feel better when I drink Treetop. It's 100% pure juice in new flavors I really like. And those juice drinks have added sugar, artificial flavors. I don't want that. That's why I choose Treetop.
Treetop, we always give you 100%.
Hello again, everybody. Back with St. Paul Mayor George Latimer.
Right, here we are in Battle Creek Park. This is not Calgary, Tom. This park played a big role in Winter Carnival history.
That's right. You have to use your imagination just a little bit now, because in behind us here at Battle Creek Park many years ago was a gigantic ski jump that was built specifically for the St. Paul Winter Carnival. In years past, ski jumping was a major sport in the wintertime here, especially during the Winter Carnival, and people like to come out and watch those graceful athletes fly through the air, and as you can see, some of them were not so graceful. Now, as I understand it, according to history and the way this whole thing works, that King Boreas is pitted against Vulcanus Rex, who is the king of fire.
True, but this year, Vulcan is going to win in a big way. The theme of this year's Winter Carnival is Tales of Fire and Ice, and the main attraction is a giant snow volcano, the home of Vulcanus Rex.
And that volcano is out on Harriet Island, and News 11's Kirsten Lindquist tells us how that volcano came to be on that site this year.
The official opening of the 1988 St. Paul Winter Carnival, January 27th, was a festive night. It was as cold as it should have been, and thousands found their way to Harriet Island to celebrate the 102nd year of King Boreas' reign, this time over the realm of fire and ice. Plans for the Winter Carnival were unveiled last September at a news conference in St. Paul. It was then that we learned for the very first time that Harriet Island was the spot where King Boreas would set up shop for this year's Winter Carnival. A winter wonderland here, on this desolate 14-acre patch of land, it hardly seemed possible last fall. Nonetheless, work started early in October on a key figure in the annual event, the Fire King Vulcanus Rex.
Here we are, planning on putting a beard on him.
In an old warehouse in North Minneapolis, workers began a 2-month job to create the fiery figure that every year dethrones King Boreas. In mid-December, Vulcanus came to life during a test of his animation. And at about the same time, desperate steps were taken to create some snow on Harriet Island. Snow machines from a local ski area were started up. With opening day of the carnival less than 6 weeks away, artificial snow seemed the only way to go.
Well, we'd like to have a little bit colder weather so we can make more snow. The warmer it is, we have to turn the machines, cut back on the water so we're not making as much.
Luckily, early January brought sub-zero weather, and that meant preparations could move into high gear.
It looks like King Boreas has come into town and gotten everything a little bit colder, so it's really looking good.
An ice rink on Harriet Island was flooded, and an icy foundation for Boreas' throne was laid. And a mile from the island at Pickerel Lake, volunteers began cutting 500-pound blocks of ice. 4,500 of them were needed to build the 7 towers of Boreas' throne. Vulcanus Rex was on the move, from North Minneapolis to St. Paul, where he was hidden away until his volcano was ready. By the middle of the month, up to 300 volunteers were working hard to meet the deadline that was coming soon. And 8 inches of snow, January 19th, gave them what they needed to finish up that volcano. January 25th, the Fire King's Inferno was done. In all, it was made of 2,500 cubic feet of snow. The next day, Volcanus Rex was lifted into his impressive home. It was a proud moment for the folks who organized the extravaganza.
Are your dreams coming true?
Yes. Yes.
And time also to make a few technical adjustments.
We'll either have to change the time in that sequencer or change lamps.
Work on the King's throne continued right up until opening day. Only hours before the opening night celebration, final touches were still being made. But at 7 o'clock on the 27th, the exciting moment arrived. The carnival began with an announcement from King Boreas.
Let there be a musical celebration of the legend of Carnival.
And Volcanus Rex emerged to warn one and all that their days of winter fun were numbered.
Good people of the realm, you'll soon discover your comfort and safety rests with me. Hail the Vulcan.
Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to show you a winter carnival treat.
And get set for a great parade. We'll be right back as the Winter Carnival legend lives on.
Don't leave the room. Our reputation is at stake because we're doing something you wouldn't expect. Something new, something fresh, something exciting. Wrapped up the way you like it. We're putting our reputation at stake, and things are beginning to sizzle. New steak fajitas. Think of it as a Mexican steak sandwich.
Sooner or later, keeping the old car running just isn't worth it. Not when Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge dealers are offering up to $1,000 cash back on select imports and savings of hundreds more on specially equipped models. On Colt hatchbacks, Vista wagons, Ram 50 pickups, and Conquest TSIs. So instead of this, see your Chrysler, Plymouth, or Dodge dealers before these great import deals expire.
Convenience stores are popping up everywhere, and they all seem to be alike, small and limited, except one, Tom Thumb. Tom Thumb has more than other convenience stores, so you can pick up almost anything. How does that make the other guys feel? Downright embarrassed.
Get a 12-pack of Coke products or Sprite for just $2.99. Delicious Bernatello's Pizza, $2.89. And Deli Express Chuck Wagon sandwiches, 2 for $1 this week at Tom Thumb.
To you, this might be a simple breakfast, but in the time it takes to prepare cereal, you can prepare hot, buttery pancakes and savory sausages. Great Starts breakfasts from Swanson. Simply good food. If this is your idea of a hot breakfast, think about this. In the time it takes to make coffee, you can make hot scrambled eggs, sizzling bacon, and crispy home fries. Great Starts breakfasts from Swanson. A real breakfast.
Coming up next, right here on Channel 11, are 2 full hours of coverage of the 1988 Winter Carnival Torchlight Parade, live from downtown St. Paul.
Well, that's going to do it for us right now. And George, once again, it's been a pleasure to work with you.
Great to be with you, Tom. I hope you and Channel 11 and all the other folks come on back to St. Paul's Winter Carnival.
You can count on it. We will be here. And right now, we're going to leave you with a look at past and present winter carnivals done by News 11 photographer-editor Jeff Crocker. So long, everybody, and enjoy the parade.
Are fluctuating interest rates keeping you out of your new home? Fix them with a new home from Gardner Brother Homes. Gardner Brother Homes offers FHA, VA, 8 3/8, 30-year fixed-rate mortgages to qualified first-time home buyers at a monthly payment that fits your budget. And of course, a quality-built home that fits all your living needs. A home from Gardner Brothers offers you the style you want, the space you need, and the financing you can afford. Get an interest rate you can handle from Gardner Brother Homes.
Building your future today.
Enter the world of Michael Douglas as he lights up the City of Light on the next Entertainment Tonight. Will Fatal Attraction take Europe by storm? Lisa Gibbons finds out in an exclusive interview direct from Paris. Next, see why Patrick Swayze's got everybody talking about his hot song from Dirty Dancing. Plus, Carl Weathers finds action on screen. And Angela Lansbury recalls a chilling role.
It'll shock a lot of folk, I can tell you that.
On Entertainment Tonight.
Monday at 6:30 on 11.
Try eating with a spoon tonight.
Press onward, 'cause one day you'll break through.
Try it again.
You're a winner if this pride all you do. Give your best, that's all that matters. As you
Weather? Sunshine by the weekend, but tomorrow looks like a real mess.
we know what matters.
11 Dream Castle finalists, 11 keys, 1 winner. Witness it live.